After all of the work to get to this point, it's finally here. It is finally time to spin. I have just over 1.33 pounds of this wool, which is from a Jacob sheep fleece that I processed from scratch and turned into this smooth, easy to work with roving. All of the little fibers are carded and aligned, and it is ready to go from this squishy fluff to usable yarn. So I was torn between doing a 2-ply and a 3-ply, and if you recall from the last video, I was kind of undecided on how I wanted to proceed, and I actually asked you guys in the comments what you thought I should do, and B, what you would do in that situation. And almost like to a person, every single one of you said, oh, 3-ply. Duh. And I would like you all to know that I didn't listen to you at all. And I decided to do 2-ply. Because I'm going to be using it for a weaving project, I just don't think the difference between the shape of the 2-ply and the shape of the 3-ply will make that much of a difference. But also, I could be completely wrong. This channel is called Be Queer Make Stuff, not Be Queer Make Stuff Perfectly. And there's a reason for that, and it's because I just like to do stuff, and it's more fun that way for me. And, you know, I'm the one doing it, so here we are. I have 20 braids of roving prepared. Each braid is approximately 1 ounce of fiber. I'll spin each ounce as singles, that is spinning that is not plied, and then 2 of the singles will be plied back together to create a 2-ply yarn, and that is my end goal. That means that each skein of 2-ply yarn will be 2 ounces, and I'll have 10 skeins total. Spinning is simple. And before y'all come after me, I don't mean that in a way that you think I mean that. Spinning is simple does not mean that it is easy or fast. And doing a good job, like with everything, is harder than it looks. But the mechanics, those are simple. You're taking fiber from a fiber source. In this case, it's the roving I prepared from the sheep wool, and you're pulling it and twisting it until it sticks together. But it turns out making something to your vision is the hardest part, not the mechanical aspect. But I bet you already know that. I bet that is not a surprise if you've done anything ever in your whole life. I got a lot of the noils and greebles and shortcuts out of the fiber source when I hand carded it before putting it through the drum carder, but there are still little schmutzes that have escaped my care. The worst of them I pull out by hand as I go along. Mostly it's very smooth, but there are still these little ones that slip through, and I'm just grabbing the worst of them. If there's little tiny ones, I don't worry about them. At the end of the day, it is not a commercial yarn, right? This is hand spun, so it's not going to be entirely smooth. That's kind of its charm. So that took a long time, but I love spinning. I really, really love spinning. There's something about it that feels like it's the correct thing to be doing. I don't know. Humans have been working with fibers from a million different sources for thousands and thousands of years, from like nettles to flax to cotton to sheep fluff to camel fluff to like everything. If there's a way to turn it into a fiber, humans have probably done it, and like done it really well, because we're pretty good at that. And it feels, I don't know, it feels like my hands want to be doing it, and that's kind of a fun feeling. Now I'm going to give them all a little bath with some warm soapy water to help set the twist. This also will clean out any little remaining schmutches that, you know, kind of escaped the previous washing with the fluff. The warm water helps the fibers relax into their new spun positions, and then we'll give them a not so gentle thwacking. And this will just, you know, you just kind of like literally whack the fibers on something. And this will help distribute the twist amongst the skein itself. Then they hang dry for a day or two, and they come to rest in their final form. I'm totally hiding the microphone. Oh no. Okay. Look at this. This is it. Look at all the things we've done. Oh my goodness. Oh, crap. Dropping them. All right. Let's make this pretty. There's two things I would like to say. The first is, wow, this is a ton of yarn. And the second is, wow, this is not a ton of yarn. The pile of fluff was a lot bigger. It is incredible how it is absolutely smooshed down into this end result. It's kind of a magical transformation. All right, I'm gonna set these down. All right, a couple of big picture observations. The first is that I had a fair amount of confidence that I would be able to do a relatively consistent yarn, and I was wrong. I would say, to the casual observer, it's fairly consistent, but I did a bunch of math, right? I counted how much each skein weighed, a rough approximation of the yardage of each skein, and then I calculated something called the grist, which is basically how many yards would it be if it was a full pound. And that way you can really compare apples to apples, even though they're all kind of different lengths, what the actual kind of quality of each skein is in comparison to each other. And there's a pretty big variation, actually, much more than I was expecting. And like part of me is like kind of disappointed in myself because I did not do a really good job of like checking the twist of everything as I was going, and so a couple skeins are, I would say, pretty over twisted, but also like it's all data, it's all kind of interesting observations to be made, and I'm not like mad about it. I actually have an idea of what I can do about the difference. Maybe I'll keep that a secret. No, I won't. I'm bad at secrets. Okay, I want to dye half of the resulting yarn with sumac berries, which I gathered in the fall. So when I actually weave it, those differences will not be like a mistake. It will be kind of like a design choice. The thin or thick yarn, whichever one I choose, will be a very moderately different color. Details pending, that's all just theoretical. This is me getting excited about the next part of the project. I'm not a knitter, I'm a sewer. So my goal is to turn all of this into something that I can sew. And I think it's very doable. I think we can totally do it. So there's gonna be a few more steps in the process though. We're gonna have to dye half of the yarn with the sumac berries, and we're gonna have to design the warp and design the actual weaving, and then we're gonna have to weave it, and then we're gonna have to sew it. So okay, we're a little ways away still, but like these are all exciting parts. I'm all jazzed up. I'm excited to do them. Yes, we will go forth and we will continue to make things. Also, a quick aside before we wrap up. I don't know if you're watching this as it comes out or if you're watching it in the future. But right now there's a lot of scary stuff happening in the world, and scary stuff specifically regarding our community of queer and trans people. I think one of the most important things we can do, genuinely, is continue to support one another, continue to build community, and continue to look out for one another. And for me, that means making videos and being authentically who I am, which is queer and trans. This may shock you. Yeah, be queer and make stuff. Bye.